Good morning and welcome to our Power Breakfast interview today. Today we want to get back to the vexatious land issue in this country. A lot of controversy still stalks the Ministry of Lands and the National Land Commission, which are the two institutions charged with the administration of land in this country. We are joined in the studio by the Chief Executive, Tom Chavanga, and Mr. Makathimo, Mwenda Makathimo. I've known you so long, but I might shorten it on TV, which is not good. Mwenda Makathimo, who is a land expert and director of the Land Development and Governance Institute. Karibuni, gentlemen.
Asante sana.
We'll start with Mr. Chavanga. Chavangi, sorry. Has the dispute between the National Land Commission and the Ministry of Lands been resolved?
I would say, thank you, Makali. I must confess that those are matters that can be resolved very easily.
Yes.
Any new institution that comes in to manage processes and also to an institution that has been established by the Constitution that comes in to manage certain processes like land issues, right, will obviously face its own challenges. But I think these are just teething problems. We are 1 year into establishment of the National Land Commission, and as we move on, I believe these are issues that we can solve very easily.
Yeah, but recently you had, of course, issues about who should handle which files. The ministry collected all files to do what was called digitization, organization, streamlining, so to speak, from their perspective. And the Lands Commission had a problem with that exercise, operation, as if it was excluded from it. What was the issue, and how do things stand now?
From the perspective of the National Land Commission, I must say that when that process started, we moved to court to challenge it. But between moving to court and ending of the process, there were progressive discussions between the National Land Commission and the ministry. And that's why we went to court, and the matter was withdrawn unconditionally. Right. But I must also say that we are before the Supreme Court on the 26th of June for purposes of defining the boundaries between the Ministry of Land and Housing and Urban Development and the National Land Commission. Yeah. And it's an advisory opinion. It's not adversarial.
Advisory, yes.
In the sense that we are fighting another institution. No, yeah. It's just for purposes of advising these two institutions by telling them this is your mandate and this is your mandate and this is how far you can go.
Yeah. Still back on the Nini, before we move out, we're just dealing with clearing the administrative cobwebs around the work first. What was the issue that, between you and the ministry over the files? What was the ministry doing, and what did you not like about it? And how has it been resolved? Because even today we are seeing stories about allegations that some 3,000 plus files were retained by the National Land Commission and the ministry could not access them in the digitization process. What are the facts here?
In terms of I've not read the stories. If they're in the papers, it's a little bit early. Right. I haven't gone through the papers to see that, and I would sum them as allegations or rumors.
Yes, there's actually a denial by the Lands Commission that they hold any files, an allegation which has come from the ministry's side. But anyway, that notwithstanding, those are small details. What was the dispute about, and how did you resolve it?
The dispute was to the extent of engagement, how the ministry and the National Land Commission are supposed to engage in terms of cleaning the registries. For instance, the Central Registry, which is countrywide, and the Nairobi Registry, those are registries under the ministry. And the Records Registry, which holds the correspondence files, that's the registry which is supposed to be under the National Land Commission. So the ministry went ahead and organized all these three registries, which to me or to the National Land Commission, that was okay. Yes. I mean, we congratulate that. When we realized that it is something that is being done positively, then we said, why move to why continue this case in court? Yes. Let us withdraw and let us engage further in terms of positivity, because we can't be fighting day in, day out.
Yes.
But what was the fear? What was the fear?
No, there was no fear. There was no fear.
It was just territorial fights that, look, these files belong to us.
Yeah, that is the thing. There was no fear at all. You can't, you cannot fear the unknown. You have to engage to know what is inside that that kind of.
There must have been a reason why you went to court.
To the extent you went to
court. No, it was territorial.
It
was just territorial.
You just felt you were not being engaged in the matter.
There was no fear at all.
And there was no mischief going on.
No, not
the public had these fears that some files were being arranged, others were being organized to facilitate certain details which were either cover up or clean up before these things go out to the public. Or are those fears not legitimate?
No, I must say also that I'm not privy to that kind of information, and we did not even participate.
Bwana Chavangi is not telling us the truth.
But
Let's
see
what
in the organization.
From an external
well,
looking at how the Ministry of Lands has been and what has gone on, what is your perspective as an expert? Yes.
Yes, from our side, we have really had concerns that the public service in the land sector has suffered for a long time. And what we've been looking for, what we've been clamoring for all these years, one, accountability in terms of institutions, two, efficiency and effectiveness, and the corruption that has been there. We thought it was going to end and business will be good. But what lately has concerned us is that this dispute that has been between the two lead institutions has really affected service delivery.
Right.
And we have done surveys across the country, and citizens are saying we are hurting, and we would want to see this leadership of the two institutions complement rather than fight.
Yes.
And we went into analyzing what could be the root causes of this, because when we talk to the ministry, they actually say there is no problem. When we talk to the commission, they equally say we have no problem. Yes. It is the other side that has the problem. And when they meet in the same room, because we've met with both of them in the same room,
yes,
the ministry here and the commission here, they talk nice to one another. But the moment they leave that room, what we get is totally confusing. So we have zeroed in on three core problems. The first problem is to do with the clash of mandates in statutory provisions.
Right.
Not all, some of the provisions in the Land Registration Act and a few in the Land Act would leave any person, even if it were me, clashing with the other office holder. For instance, Section 6 of the Land Registration Act and part of Section 7 gives the mandate to man land registries and set them to the National Land Commission. Then another part of that, Section 7, gives it to the Public Service Commission and Cabinet Secretary. And whereas Section 110 of the Land Registration Act gives powers to set regulations, rules, even hours of when the registries will open, when they will close, and anything in that act to the Cabinet Secretary.
Yes.
Those three sections already set a stage for fight, because each of them are acting within the law. So it depends on which one, who picks what. And they say, I'm acting under Section 110 of Land Registration. When we talked to the Cabinet Secretary, she said, but I'm given by the law.
Yes.
Even my powers to decide when business happens in the registry, even ours.
Yeah.
All these procedures, I'm given powers to organize. Then we talked to the commission, he said, but we are told that we set the registries, even the forms of how registries work. So, for instance, that legislation there leaves one not knowing what should happen. That really needs a bit of cleanup so that we know if it is a commission that is responsible, we know we will hold it accountable without reference to another. If it is a cabinet secretary, let us know. Okay. So that then we can't say there is confusion in law. Then the Land Act, Section 160, gives the power to make regulations to the cabinet secretary or the commission. Now, when you give authority to two people and say or, who will exercise?
Exactly.
Who will you hold accountable? So those flaws, we must be bold from the legislative side and say, this one is to the commission. If it fails, we hold the commission accountable.
Right.
And all resources to it go with the responsibility.
Right.
This is to the ministry, we hold them accountable. So those are little confusions. The other problem is administrative. Because this story of files, who has closed where, who is involving who, staff who are moving to the commission yet answering to the ministry, and other staff and the procedures of who will take what files. We thought that administrative function, and whether there are meetings held for consultations
yes.
or not, I seriously feel that the accounting officers of those institutions need to sort the administrative function and display pragmatism
in the operations.
Yes, because administration, the country will not go around discussing who is carrying what pen,
addressing that
what
particular,
file.
I would like Mr. Chevangi to respond to that particular coordination. You as the chief executive at the National Lands Commission, how closely do you work with the PS, the permanent secretary at Ministry of Lands, operationally?
No, we have a very close working relationship. We have open communication channels with the PS at the ministry. The only challenge towards these administrative issues has been finances. You know how much the commission has been underfunded for the last 1 year or so. So for us to engage fully in terms of taking the staff who've been seconded to us, because the same Land Act says that the these staff members have to be vetted before you take them up. What I got from the ministry when I came in, I got 1,267 staff members, besides the ones that we recruited competitively.
Right.
Now, these 1,267 staff members have to be vetted as per the law. But that vetting process is a financial process. And that is the money that I didn't have for the last 1 year until when this increment, the budget increment that we've just seen in on the news has come in. So with that kind of money, I will be in a position now to take over these staff members fully into the commission, and then that now will distinct the reporting lines. Because here I have staff members seconded to me, but the paymaster is a different person.
Yes.
So you find that I have staff members who are both at the commission and the Ministry of Lands when need arises.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms of stuff, again, still on administrative issues, there were changes that were introduced by the ministry, appointments of, registrar and so forth, which brought a lot of controversy. Was there engagement with the Lands Commission, and were those officers appointed as such to deal with titles, and so forth, affecting your mandate, what Makathimo has just outlined?
The appointment of the registrar is the function of the Public Service Commission.
Yes.
It's not our function at all. It's not even the function of the Ministry of Lands. The ministry recommends to the Public Service Commission the individuals that they want appointed as registrars.
Yes.
At that particular moment, they actually consulted the commission.
Right.
And the chairman of the commission and the cabinet secretary of the commission sent a joint communique. They sent a joint letter to the Public Service Commission, and they said these are the names that we've agreed upon.
Okay.
And that's when these appointments were made by the Public Service Commission.
Okay.
So I think that was in order.
Let's look at the ministry since the files were looked for and sorted out. What is the situation now there when we go there?
As a client, before we go to the...
Yes.
Okay, from the side of the client, fair enough that files have been recovered, and that is good. For sure, there were many files missing, but the quantums, I do not have the idea. Only the insiders would know, and quite a number of files that were missing are found, and the filing and the cleanup exercise, as we have always said, is a good step. Is a good step to begin. But from where we stand, we know what is sustainable is not manual filing. What is sustainable is integrated automation of land management systems in the country, and that requires a very clear project design, scheduling, and implementation that also incorporates all stakeholders, including the ones who give services like the commission, the registry, the ones who seek services like planners, surveyors, architects, lawyers who do conveyancing, so that whatever forms of entry or engagement are used to interact with the customers and the users of the system is customized and is friendly to business.
Yeah.
That has to be done in a structured manner, and that will require immense resource planning. It will require transparent procurement, and it will require expertise. That is what will deliver the efficiency we are seeking. For now, I would, in medical terms, I would compare it with first aid. Yes, we have had bruises, fractures.
Yes.
The cleanup has done first aid.
Yeah, but the injury
somebody
is not
can get to the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, it's good. It's good. They are not looking bad,
Yeah.
looking neat, but there is surgery. There is
That needs to be
surgery
done.
that is needed,
Yeah.
and there is a healing period for the surgery. We've always said, even after you do this in terms of system, you have to deal with staff, especially staff attitude. People who are used to plucking files and disappearing with them,
Yes.
you give them a computer and they will pluck cables.
Yes.
So you you really have to work on right staffing, training to change attitude, and there is a change management process that has to be designed professionally so that then it brings the impact that is needed.
Yes.
For now, if we leave it at good filing,
Yes.
we leave it at the nice services and the way the files have been found,
Yes.
bad habits die hard.
Yes.
You get the cabinet secretary being busy,
Yeah.
and moving, going even for a safari,
Yeah.
and nothing will work.
Interesting.
What about the middlemen who are there? The source of
The good
corruption?
thing, yes, I agree, the surveillance cameras
Yes.
that are there have helped secure. Physical security is good. I said from the fiscal aspect,
Yes.
physical, manual physical aspect,
Yeah.
I would score them 10 out of 10. From automation and integration of services professionally the way we know it, we are yet to begin.
To begin.
From a
Yet to
professional
begin.
eye.
Now, which
Yeah.
which leads to what the National Land Commission did yesterday, launching pre-launch event you had yesterday. But the main launch is coming next week, Monday, you say. What is the strategic plan going forward in the context of what he's saying about an integrated system that is going to move this whole mess, you know, if I may say so, in the land sector? What is the strategic plan going forward? In painting in big swipes, yes.
It's a 5-year strategic plan, and integrated automation system is not a one-off thing.
Yes.
It's something that will start seeing the light of day in the second and a half, or the third and a half year time. And under the National Land Commission Act, the automation is provided for under Section 5, 2D of the National Land Commission Act, that the National Land Commission shall come up with the National Land Information Management System. That is a very small component of the whole automation system,
Right.
which, if you so wish, you might call it the Kenya National Spatial Data Infrastructure. Now, the National Land Information Management System that is supposed to be developed by the National Land Commission will fit into that spatial data. Then other institutions will also have to bring in their automated systems so that we have a single data for the rest of the country. And under our strategic plan, that is a flagship program. And within the strategic plan, we've given it a span of 4 years in terms of progression and in terms of achieving the land information management system. And then that is also coupled with institutional development and our key strategic areas, the institutional development of the National Land Commission,
Yes.
so that we manage, as Makadimo has said, there must also be staff to manage some of these aspects. Without the right staff members, for instance, the staff who've been seconded to us, without us taking them through that change management processes, without us telling them what needs to be done for us to achieve what we want to achieve within our strategic plan, then the whole thing will just be a farce.
Yeah.
So we've put measures within the strategic plan to ensure that these achievements are done.
Yeah.
Is what has happened in other house replicated countrywide? There's a lot of problems in
Registries.
the registries.
Well,
in the country.
the first aid, as I call it, the initial cleanup, because I said it is good for a beginning,
Yeah.
needs to be carried to other registries across the counties, because service delivery will not wait for 4 years to get to the bigger project. So the cleanup is welcome, and it should go to the other areas so that at least what is contained is known, and that the content of the files is guarded so that automation feeds into reliable information.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that I would want to urge from the two institutions. You know, the way the laws and the policies was designed, and the picture, the vision that we had as stakeholders was one of a complementary role, not exclusion. So we would want, even in their sourcing financing, we would want to see a comprehensive, a teamwork, a coordinated project, so that they put a joint bid to the financiers, even external and even internal. Because when you talk of the Kenya Spatial Data Infrastructure, it requires the planning, even from the counties, to be coordinated. It requires the surveying to be coordinated. It requires the registries. So this requires pragmatic leadership, where you say we will jointly do, the way you used to see maybe some institutions, government of Kenya and another partner in delivering a project, sometimes even with the Africa Development Bank and others.
Yes.
So we would want to see a joint approach, not an exclusive approach. That's why I said pragmatism in sector leadership is core.
Yeah.
And as citizens, we must not allow the two institutions to behave as if one is on top of one mountain and the other.
Yeah.
The bridge must be brought.
Yeah.
The bridge must be brought, and where there are problems, even those who have power, whether parliament, because it's oversight, it should make sure that there's no time that is allowed that they read at cross purposes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want you to prepare yourself to articulate the public concerns with regard to the strategic plan that they're about to unleash. But first, Chavangi, what is the, okay, you mentioned a little about the automation and so forth, which are pretty technical things, but, and of course they affect the public, but what the public is expecting, there's what I would call smoking issues out there. People who don't have titles, adjudication issues, which are, you know, plenty out there. What is in the strategic plan that people should expect in answering those major challenges, which are obvious public concerns?
Yeah, in the strategic plan, there's a very big component on issues of land management and administration.
Yeah. Or maybe let me rephrase it this way for ease of your answer. What are the highlights of that strategic plan going forward?
There are 5.
Yeah. What are you, exactly, outline those.
There are 5. Yeah. Public land management and administration, and
where
those are flagships.
Yeah, what you propose to do, so and so.
Yeah. And under public land administration and management, we propose now the issues of titles.
Yes.
And in consonance and consultation with the national and county governments.
Yes.
Yeah, that is where we propose the issuance of titles. And issuance of titles also comes under these areas that you've mentioned. We have also to establish and identify adjudication areas.
Yes.
Because under adjudication areas and settlement areas, you can quickly knock off and have titles which can be given out to Kenyans.
Right.
There's settlement areas that we need to declare in the country for Kenyans to have their titles, and for there are settlement areas in the country where Kenyans have never had their titles.
Yes.
So we need to fast track that. There are adjudication areas that we need to go into, so that also titles can be released. Right. And these are the forms of titles that can be released very quickly through issuance of leases and grants. And then eventually the ministry does the signing of the certificate of leases and the certificate of titles. Yes. And that is an issue of contention.
Yes,
but
yes. Who should sign the titles? Who should issue?
We don't even sign the titles as a commission. It's not even provided for in the law for us to sign the titles. That is the work of the ministry. As we did the conveyancing part of it, we conveyance the document up to the signing, which is done by the ministry. That is one. Then there is the National Land Information Management System.
Yes.
That is another flagship that I think we've tried to exhaust within our discussions. And this is what is going to automate, have all these integrated systems. But just to respond also to Makadimo, we've actually defended these budgets before the budget committee in Parliament, with the ministry, with the involvement of the ministry. So in terms of complementing each other, we have to complement each other. The ministry has all this documentation, the survey documents. We have to complement the ministry, so that we can move forward. Then we have the management of natural resources. You see how natural resources has been managed in this country. So under natural resources, development of policies, development of strategic approach on how to cushion natural resources in this country with the ministry that is involved. The ministry.
Can you break that down a little when you say natural resources? You're talking about oil and other issues that...
yeah, we're talking about all those things. We're talking
minerals.
We're talking minerals, we are talking about wildlife, we are talking about water towers. We are talking about the forests. I mean, the Commission has the mandate under the laws and the Constitution to engage institutions that deal with that in terms of development of policies and also safeguarding these natural resources and even utilization of these natural resources. Then we have issues to do with conflict resolutions. When the Commission came in, we inherited 7,000 cases against the Commission of Lands, the then Commission of Lands. 7,000 cases. Now, if 7,000 cases are taken before court and we have awards against these 7,000 cases, then we shall be broke. Not only the Commission, but I believe even the National Kitty will be broke, because the awards that come from court are not small awards. Those are humongous awards. So under the conflict resolution strategic approach, we are developing traditional dispute resolution mechanisms, alternative dispute resolution mechanism, so on and so forth, so that these cases that are before court can also be managed in another way, so that we reduce the costs, we reduce the time for awards, and also we reduce this back and forth between court, between two parties who are adversarial. And finally, in the strategic plan, we have the issue of institutional development. It's very critical. We cannot move forth with the four without having a proper institutional development.
That is
at the
National
level,
Commission itself.
The National Commission itself, at the national level and at the county level. As I'm speaking now, we are establishing the county land management boards as provided for under Section 18 of the National Land Commission Act, and as provided for under Chapter 11 of the Constitution, which speaks to issues of devolution. We must be in a position to devolve our functions at county level, so that people don't have to travel all the way from Mandera to seek services at Ardhi House, so to speak. So we have the county land management boards. We've already recruited the 47 secretaries who are like the assistant, who are like the CEOs in the counties. In fact, there's an induction process that is going on at Utali. I must say that we've established 5 of the 47 counties. Commissioners have established 5 of the 47 county land management boards. Interviews have been conducted. These members have been
identified. In fact, as you tie up that, somebody asked from Uasin Gishu, they say the county disbanded the land control board for over 1 year now. People who like to develop their property cannot do so because the purchase transaction cannot be finalized, of course. So there are no land boards functioning as was before?
I think we need not confuse county land management boards with the land control boards.
Land control boards.
Land control boards operate under the Land Control Act, which was governing agricultural land, and that Land Control Act is still in force. So the land control boards are still in force, and that act was giving powers for the appointment to the minister. So that is a matter to be sorted by the minister. I would want to tell you that when the Land Act was being done, that Land Control Act was supposed to be repealed. But it wasn't. That's why I said Parliament has a lot of work. So it wasn't. So there will be work that would have been structured so that all the land management functions are under one roof at the county, but has not been done. So you'll have county land management boards handling, say, allotments, extension of user, and other delegated functions from the commission, but and land control boards also operating. So those are two to institutions that will be there legally.
Okay.
Then you have this issue of the settlements.
Yes.
That is in the strategic plan of the Commission, and we've said there are risks that needs to be addressed from a legal point, because the Land Act gives the function of settlements the Commission, but the Land Adjudication Act and the Land Consolidation Act are still intact. They have not been amended, they have not been repealed.
Yes.
So the minister still has powers over settlements and the director of adjudication. So you see another institutional clash there, even as we move forward. So really we have to sort this
Can I ask
structural
Chavangi
thing.
then, in respect of these things which Makathimo earlier on actually identified about the clash of mandates and conflicting laws which are setting off the Commission and the Ministry on a confrontational line. Is there legislation proposed to amend to harmonize this legislation?
Amendments are ongoing, Makali, very advanced, at a very advanced stage. There are amendments to the Land Act, there are amendments to the Land Registration Act, there are rules and regulations which are being developed for the National Land Commission Act to actualize the operations of the National Land Commission Act.
Yes.
All this will actually arrest some of the issues that Makathimo is talking about. But there are these other peripheral acts that have been there before this reform process that came in 2012.
Yes.
There are these the Land Adjudication Act, Land Consolidation Act. We need to harmonize these acts to be in consonance with these land reform acts of 2012. Otherwise, if we continue there, we are continuing.
So the question then,
conflicts.
what I'm asking is the status of that effort. Is it the Law Reform Commission working on it? Is the CIC preparing those bills? Or where is the action going and how far is it?
It is at the stage of the Commission and the Ministry. Yesterday, the commissioners met with the stakeholders, and there was an agreement in terms of moving forward. The rules and regulations under the National Land Commission Act are supposed to be forwarded directly to Parliament, because that's what the Act says. The Act says the Commission shall. So those rules and regulations must be forwarded to Parliament for them to be actualized.
All right.
Now, the amendments under the Land Act, in whatever form that they are, because you cannot have a perfect document. They should also be forwarded now to the Cabinet Secretary for onward transmission to the relevant bodies, which need to sit together again to look through those amendments. For instance, the Kenya Law Reform, CIC, the Attorney General, have to sit down and look through these documents that seek amendment for onward transmission to Parliament for adoption or otherwise. So those processes are ongoing.
Intricate stuff,
Let me go back to what you talked about, disputes and resolution of disputes among parties over land issues. And you alluded to the fact that there are so many in court and they cannot be heard and adjudicated and sorted out by the court. So you are going back to the old system we used to have. I remember we used to have tribunals in the villages chaired by the DU. And I remember a famous case of Koinange family where there were disputes and they were written by corruption, that one party they become a mess. Is that you are going to take us back to that age?
No, Mutegi, we must also appreciate the positivity of cultural or custom processes of solving disputes. Some of them are positive. Some of them were riddled in corruption. There's no dispute about that. There's no process that has no two of those. What we are saying is we are developing guidelines now, as provided for by law, on how to manage some of these cases that we have or which are coming in. I manage 5 cases per day coming in against the Commission now. So we have 9,000 cases, not even 7,000. So an increment of 2,000 cases within a span of 1 year. So what we are saying is that guidelines will be developed on how to manage some of these things outside court through traditional dispute resolutions and through alternative dispute resolutions. Traditional, for instance, if people are fighting over a boundary, must that go to Kakamega High Court? Must that go to Kisumu High Court or any other High Court? Just a boundary, somebody has just eaten into a boundary by a few inches. I mean, that is a matter that can be handled by village elders. And those are the systems that we are developing above and over the issues of the Koinanges and the rest that were handled, and it was riddled in a lot of mystery.
Okay. I'll come to you, Makathimo, generally to outline the way forward in terms of general land reforms that are urgent and needed by the response by Chavangi. But somebody asked a very particular question here. Who is currently signing certificates of lease, and how many will have been executed since the formation or the removal of the Lands Commissioner?
The functions of the Commissioner
of Lands.
Commissioner of Lands.
Yes.
Are functions which were given to the National Land Commission. However, the issues of registration,
yes,
as Makadimo has said,
yes,
Section 6, 7, 8, 9 of the Land Registration Act, Section 110 of the Land Registration Act, brings conflict between the Ministry of Lands and the National Land Commission. But in terms of execution of titles, certificate of lease,
yes,
and certificate of title, that one, there's no dispute whatsoever.
That
is the function of the ministry.
Right.
They're the ones who are supposed to be signing.
So you administer the land, but the records and issuance of documents is a function of the government, which is the Ministry of Lands.
Yeah, but
Bwana
Makali, I think let's get this clear, because it can be misused and misinterpreted. The function of executing title or lease certificates is not the ministries. It is the land registrars. This is an office that has not been appreciated, because if you say the ministry, then it means it is free to be allocated to the PS or the others. Yeah. No, it is section 26 of the Land Registration Act says the land registrar the signature of the land registrar will be prima facie evidence of proprietorship,
of ownership
of that property, and whatever document they sign will be taken as the authentic document. So it is not any other person, so that it is not.
Is there a registrar
it is
signing right now? So who is the registrar? The registrar previously was the Commission of Lands.
No.
There has always been below.
Those are a registrar below.
Yeah.
The commissioner was just on top.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even now, and even going to the future, there is the chief land registrar, and the deputies and the rest, and the county land registrars. So the business of signing, that is a certificate.
Yes.
But there is a process behind before you get to the certificate. The process behind, especially when it relates to renewal of leases and new grants, is the process of the commission. Okay. Now, the process of new settlements,
yes,
and where there has been adjudication, is that process that has been going through the director of adjudication. That's what I'm saying. With the Land Adjudication Act still intact, and the Land Act giving this function to the commission, there is a legal clash that is urgent to be sorted. Otherwise, even the resources being given will be fought for in the coming days. You can already witness, because you'll find the programs of the commission meaning very well, but then also the director will have to show they are doing their work. They also draw their programs, and the country will be still wondering whose title or who is giving us what service. That needs harmony urgently. Right. And the committee in charge of lands, the departmental committee, I would say it has not been doing well, with all due respect, because it has functions for oversight of services of this sector. It has functions for legislation for this sector. So these things we are talking about, if they sat with the two institutions and drew a program and built a consensus, called stakeholders, because they must involve Kenyans, then these ones, I don't think they can take ages. Within a month, so that as we go to the new budget, we don't want to hear the commission has a plan, and they are going on with the plan, and then the next day we hear their resources have not gone, they are somewhere in between. You know, that really will not help the country.
Okay. A lot of questions, of course, coming in from people who are sending in feedback and very specific questions to their areas, which we can't all handle here. We'll forward them to you. But who handles maps? A lot of questions out there. Who handles maps? Because people, Amondi in Kisumu says, for example, he goes to the registry, he's referred to Nairobi for the land adjudication record. Others are saying the maps there, when they go to SM Kisumu, they are referred to Nairobi. So where do people get the proper land maps? And who, with you, with the ministry, where? Or at the district level?
Okay.
I think in terms of management of maps, maps also hold property.
Yes.
What somebody owns. I think that is the concern. And that is, in the language of Makadimo, they call it cadastral maps.
Yes.
Property maps. I think those maps are held by Survey of Kenya.
Survey of Kenya?
Survey of Kenya.
So, Lands Commission doesn't have the maps. People should not come looking for them there.
Under the law, we can call for them.
Yes.
Under the Land Act.
Yes.
We can summon for those maps to be brought before the commission when need arises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question, briefly. The feedback is enormous. Dominion Lands in Kisumu, there was an investigation going on. Anything on that update?
Yeah, the investigation is still ongoing. The commission has been involved, and there's a reference commissioner for Kisumu.
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Tom Konyimbi. Tom
Konyimbi. So people can seek him out
they can
at the
seek
Land
him
Commission
out
for issues in that area.
With the assistance of Frederick Herbert Foundation last year, we did a visit to Yala Swamps to do an assessment of that area. And we are still developing our strategy on how to engage on some of those complaints that are arising from those areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really, we ran out of time. Mutegi, maybe final things before we tie up.
There was corruption in terms of people getting double allocation and double titles, and you get land, somebody else gets it. Is that eliminated? Will you ever hear about that?
No, that's not a one-off thing. So it's actually very complicated because in the previous regime, the previous laws, the Registration of Land Act, it stated that if you're the first registrant of a particular property, in whichever manner that you acquire that property, it matters not.
As long as you are the registered person.
Yeah, the first registrant of that property. So those are the things that we need to start dealing with under this land reform regime, the contemporary regime now. But in terms of double allocation as it is, the way we understand it as it is, Mutegi having, Chavangi then having the same property, I think that will be handled under what is called the review of grants and dispositions, an authority that has been given to the National Land Commission by the laws. We review. If it's an irregular allocation, then we see how to deal with that. If it's illegal, then we see how to deal with that illegality also as we move forward.
Okay.
But it's not a one-off.
In fact, that is a question somebody was asking. Whom should they sue if they find they have a double allocated land? As has happened in Nairobi, in a lot of places, Syokimau, and so on. But we are coming to an end. Maybe Makathimo, just your parting final words on sort of what is urgent as an expert dealing with the different clients who seek service from the Lands Ministry as well as the Lands Commission. What are the pressing things that we think they need to take in quickly going forward?
Of course, there are quick wins that as we wait for the long-term things must be done. First of all, we have the grabbing problem in the country is really what necessitated the coming in of these institutions, so that public land and land is, even private land, is not grabbed arbitrarily. So first of all, for the Commission, I think we must get a clear public land inventory as a quick win, so that it is locked, so that whoever touches it, it is known.
Yeah.
The second bit that I think is very, very important, this bit of settlements has to be sorted, and the committee of lands in Parliament, together with these two institutions, must sort so that the program of giving Kenyans access to land, these titles, is not held at ransom by these other small things, so that settlements is rolled out. That is what will touch Kenyans who have never benefited from land. The other bit is or sorting of who is giving what services at the decentralized level. County level. Because when we go to the registries down there, people, service seekers are not happy because
somebody has asked that
things
question.
Are being postponed.
Processing titles at the county level is so difficult.
we need the issues of the commission getting their services to the county level fast-tracked in terms of, call it decentralization or devolution. We also need the cleanup that has been done at the county so that people there are not told your green cards have disappeared. So that will help at least keep moving the wheel forward.
Okay. Yeah. I'll ask you this as you also conclude. Somebody asked, I think from Nairobi, the big question is, are titles and leases being signed now, and who signs them? Because people are being told, come after 2 weeks, come after 2 weeks. The people need to know.
As well, actually, it was well articulated by Makadimo.
Yeah,
but just
he's
to
not
add,
thinking.
just to add on what Makadimo said earlier on under Section 26 of the Land Act.
Yeah.
Administratively, the registrar, the chief land registrar, administratively.
Yes.
Or you may want to use any other word. They have been housed under the Ministry of Lands. Yes. So they are synonymous to the Ministry of Lands.
Yeah.
Their linkage is with the Ministry of Lands. That is my thinking. So in terms of signing titles, or certificate of titles and certificate of leases, that is the work of the registrars. Housed,
so they're being signed now. That is the question, because there had been a stoppage of that exercise.
Yes.
So they're now being signed.
I can't say, Makali, I can't say, because that is not our function. Signing
it's a ministry function.
That's the ministry function.
All right, that's an answer, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe from a
but
customer side,
might know.
From a customer side, the county registries where the titles are more under the former Land Registration Act, Registered Lands Act, Cap 300, or the ones that have come from settlements, the usual giving and signing of titles is being done by county land registrars. Those transactions are happening.
Okay.
However,
yeah.
As with regard to the extension of leases, the ones that have renewal for the ones that have expired,
new grants,
and any new grants, I think because of the connection between the process of the commission of processing and the one of getting to the one who is signing, because of that pool there, I can say that there is a bit of delay, not just delay. There's a problem there.
Yeah.
It's not. We have not seen them coming out, and I think that's why that has to be sorted between the two institutions. From that point, service delivery is suffering. I mean, I know the officer will want to be diplomatic with both institutions for relationship, but from a customer side,
yes,
where we are doing development, I think that has to be sorted.
Yeah. Actually, there's Makali, I would say we've formed a small committee, subcommittee. We are going to form that. A team of officers experienced in these issues from the National Land Commission and a team of officers from the Ministry of Lands, yes, to unlock
that gridlock.
To unlock this process that Makadimo is talking about.
Yeah.
That one is ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I think we have to tie it up there. I want to thank Mwenda Makathimo from the Land Development and Governance Institute, an expert on land issues, for articulating and helping all those inquiries that you sent in. I hope it was beneficial. And Tom Chavangi, the Chief Executive Officer at the National Lands Commission, for this morning's discussion. Join us again tomorrow for another discussion of this caliber. And thank you for watching.